It's a great day. My name is Shay Brown, the Happy Entrepreneur, and welcome to the Happy Entrepreneur Show, the #1 business development and revenue-focused late-night show in the country where we're on a mission. And our mission is to inspire, our mission is to empower, and our mission is to provide you, the hard-working entrepreneur, with all of the resources that are necessary to execute that big vision you have for the people you were called to serve. And on this particular episode, we have the one and only Kim Avant-Babb, who's in the building to talk about, well, landlording. Oh my gosh, this will be a good topic. But how she got 0 evictions and how to run your business. What's going on, Kim? How are you?
How are you? Thank you so much for inviting me. I am absolutely phenomenally blessed.
Well, thank you for being on the show. And people are wondering, I mean, I was going to ask another question, but they're wondering what in the LL Cool J is this lady talking about 0 evictions. So before we get to that part, because I know they all got to be curious, I'd like you to answer the question because you are an entrepreneur, and I think it's a reasonable question at a reasonable time, which is, what's one of the biggest challenges based on your experience that entrepreneurs face just being a profitable, successful entrepreneur?
In my opinion, based on my experience and my conversations, is that they are not running it like a business, right? When you're in business, you're an entrepreneur, there's an expectation that you know the rudiments of business one-on-one. It's not always so. We've got side hustles, and we're not judging anyone, but we've got side hustles, we've got, side gigs, etc. And many people fall into this space haphazardly, sometimes intentionally, but not always working within a business framework.
So can we talk to 2 individuals, and then we'll get into this eviction and landlording piece of it. Let's talk to first the person that's a dualpreneur. And a lot of these folks, they work full-time jobs. They're a full-time entrepreneur. I know someone saying, Shay, does she understand I'm a mom? Does she understand I'm a dad? Does she understand I got kids? Does she understand my kids have things they've got to do? Shay, does she even get the fact that I'm involved in my community? I've got a lot going on. So I would like to get her wisdom up front, if she can. What would she say to the person that has so much going on, but they want to have a successful business and they're doing their best? What's 1, 2, or 3 ideas you might just share with that person?
So I am a wife, I'm a mother, I'm a grandmother of 10. I had a full-time career for the last 35 years and was a serial entrepreneur at the same time. I ran 2 companies while working my 9 to 5, while being a mom, a grandmom, a community advocate, and all those things as well. So listen, I'm in it with you, and I'm in it to win it. I'm an example, and I'm saying to you that if I can do it, that you can do it. And basically, it's about answering the question, what are you willing to give up? What are you willing to give up to get all that you want? What are you willing to give up? Sleep? Are you willing to give up time with your family and relationships? Are you willing to give up money? Like, what are you willing to sacrifice to attain your goal? Because it is attainable. And I understand that we are what I call professional jugglers. Okay. And we're trying to throw all these balls up in the air. The magic is keeping them in the air. Okay. So I understand the place that you're in, the space that you're in. I am not immune from it. I was there. I am there. I'm a very active individual. I fired my 9 to 5 3 years ago. But prior to that, I was a professional juggler as well, juggling all of those responsibilities, all those desires, and all those wants. So I'm saying, what are you willing to give up?
I love it. What are you going to do about it? And don't worry, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to get to her background. I know some of you have already read it. Some of you have already Googled her. Some of you are already there. And others are like, Shay, I'm listening to this person, but who is she? We'll get to that in just a moment. But I want for her to talk to the other person that is a full-time entrepreneur. That this is what they do. And it's no disrespect. You can be you can be a dualpreneur. No shade on you. We love everybody. You could be a 9 to 5 millionaire and be just fine. That's cool. But I like for her to talk to the person that says, Shay, this is what I do every single day. And I'm curious, how does she prioritize her time? How does she dealing with issues that come up that weren't planned? And what's her 1 to 2 ideas that she would give to the full-time entrepreneur? Understanding, I know y'all different industries. I get that. But here's someone that's been doing this for a lot of years. So let's just get her wisdom. So listen in. So here's the question. What do you say to the person that does this full-time, all the time? What's 1 or 2 or 3 ideas you would share with them to help them continue to be profitable and grow their business?
Sure, and so I know we're going to talk about my background in a minute, but what I'll respond to that question by saying is retired as Chief Strategy Officer of the New Jersey Redevelopment Authority. So I'm a strategist by nature, by skill set. I'm a planner, and what I would say to that full-time entrepreneur is that it's all about organization and planning and prioritizing. So what I do right now as a full-time serial entrepreneur, because I have a couple of companies right now, is I'm always working in a macro and a micro approach to things. I'm looking 6, 12, 18 months out. I'm using an organizer every day. I live by my calendar and I'm creating to-do lists. I don't know who it was. I've gone through a lot of different trainings in my life, but I plan my days before they come, right? I have to-do lists. I check them off. Things that don't get done that particular day within the order that they need to get done, I shift them over into the next day. So I'm constantly checking boxes and looking ahead. So I would recommend that you work on your organizational skills, your follow up and follow through skills, and also your self care skills, right? Because we want the world and we want to be successful business owners, but we understand life happens, so we can't be hard on ourselves, but we do need to be organized, systematic, and create processes around how we operate our business and how we prioritize how we spend our 24 hours.
Says so well. And now, this is, I think, is a good time for folks that are listening with the podcast right now. Some of you got it playing on your laptop while you're cooking. I love getting the DMs from you guys. Some of you are in the gym and driving right now, and others you just want to know. You want to hear from her. So if you would, Kim,
Mhm.
take a moment. And I guess it's a two-part question. One, what's the backstory? Like, we want to know, who is this person that's talking? And secondly, what was that defining moment that you said, you know what? This is my career path for now. This is what I'm going to be doing. And that led you down the path you're on now.
Absolutely, absolutely. So I'm born and raised in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and I know there are a few Philadelphias in the country, but born and raised in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, for the last probably 30 years, we sleep in South Jersey. And I say that I don't claim New Jersey as where I'm from. I'm from Philly, all right? So born and raised in Philadelphia, and I am a real estate investor. I am a serial entrepreneur. I am an entrepreneur, and this year I became an author of of two books. So I'm very excited to say that that's my background. By training, I'm an artist. That's where I started out many years ago when I graduated high school, went to college for interior design, and I've used that creative skill set and platform to really navigate through my life and my career. I talked about being chief strategy officer, so let me start from where I am now. Legacy Real Estate Consulting is one of my companies. It is the training arm that I use to do landlord coaching, training, speaking, and mentoring around real estate development. Okay. I'm pouring from my full cup into the community based on what I've learned over the years. 3 years ago, I fired my 9 to 5 as Chief Strategy Officer at the New Jersey Redevelopment Authority. I was there for 23 years, had a phenomenal career there, and that's where I became an entrepreneur. The last 13 years of my tenure, I was approached with an idea and a vision to create a training institute by the CEO. So I led the team to create it, to grow it, to manage it, and to run it for 13 years. So that's when I became an entrepreneur. Simultaneous to that, my husband, who's my business partner, and I, for the last 3 decades, built a real estate investment company, and that's Babb Properties. So we were the 9 to 5ers who were building our business simultaneous to working. So we were sacrificing, giving up sleep, giving up time with the family, etc., to build a real estate business. And I'm going to add, in addition to that, the art background is that I'm also a fashion designer. So again, while I was working the 9 to 5, building Bad Properties, I also built Amina Designs, which is a fashion design line that I built and grew for 10 years. So I'm a serial entrepreneur. 3 years ago, I decided that I needed to go from my career to my calling, and I was I fired my 9 to 5. It had served its purpose as my silent partner in building my companies, and I was pleased to say that I could step off and um, go from my career to my calling and work 120% towards what I need to do to feel fulfilled and to feed my village and my community.
I love it. And how did you talked about getting into the real estate business and something you teach now, you coach in, you train in. And we're curious about this title. Okay, I know this is the elephant in the roof. 39 years, zero evictions. It's like it's like LeBron James, even if you're not a sports fan. I know you're a Philadelphia fan. They did play last night, but that's a topic for another time. But my question is, just like LeBron James, it's like, man, you just got a perfect record almost here. Tell us, is it 39 years with zero evictions? Tell us the secret. Tell us why that's the title for us all to tune in and listen to. We're all curious, myself included as
That's
well.
that's absolutely right. 120% factual. So this is the story behind the story, and I enjoy telling this story every opportunity that I'm given, because I like giving my late mother-in-law, Estella Babb, her flowers. And I call it the motherly nudge, right? So my husband and I, we've been friends for 41 years, married for 39, and during my upbringing, my family always owned our primary home, fine. But it wasn't until I met my husband that not only did they own their primary home, but his mother also owned investment properties. And in 1984, we bought our primary home, but his mother in law would always insist, encourage, and nudge us to buy investment properties. We were 23, 24 years old. That was not our focus. We had bought the primary home. We were partying on the weekends. Disposable income was going into consumerism. We were not focused on investing. It took her 10 years of nagging to convince us to buy investment properties. And this is the deal she made with us. My mother in law was a college educated factory sewer. I like to say that twice. She was a college educated factory sewer. With her education, she still couldn't get a good job. So, like her and my mother and many of my aunts, they worked in factories as sewers. But as a college educated factory sewer, my mother in law had the willpower, the focus, and the discipline to save. And when she did a final nudge for us to buy that investment property, she disclosed to my husband in saying, I'll make a deal. Unbeknownst to you, I've saved you $14,000 as your inheritance. The property that I'm encouraging y'all to buy is $14,000. I will gift that to you now with the understanding of when I die, you will not get an inheritance. Like who would turn that away? So we said we're in it to win it, and so that's how we got into investing. She gifted us the first property, and fast forward, I call it the gift that keeps giving. I've done case studies on this example in the past. That $14,000 investment has delivered us over 700% return, okay, over the years. But prior to that investment with us, we were managing her rental properties. And again, like she was a deal maker, right? She said to my husband for this triplex that was partially finished, if you finish it, you can keep the rent. Talk about motivation. Like that's motivation for anybody. If you finish it,
I
you can
like
keep
that.
the rent, right? And manage it. So that's where we, got our bumps and bruises and, tried to figure out this whole property management thing, managing her properties. Okay. And then when we began to invest, we just began to hone our skills and, continue growing in property management. Now, what the benefit also was that we both had 9 to 5s. I worked, thankfully in an industry that mirrored on a macro level the real estate business that we were building. So I spent the last 23 years of my career working for the New Jersey Redevelopment Authority, whose focus is to finance multi-million dollar redevelopment projects in urban cities across the state of New Jersey. So I was
Mhm.
taking that macro experience and skill set and applying it to our micro, small fledgling real estate development business. And so those skills were pouring into our company and allowed us to grow. and to scale and to educate ourselves and go to conferences and read and study and figure things out. And it's just been a blessing that we brought those business acumen and skill sets into our business, and we run it like a business. We run bad properties like a business. We run legacy real estate consulting like a business, and also our assets, our real estate, they're our assets, right? One of three of the whys that we, when the light bulb went off about investing, that we were propelled and motivated and inspired to go forward was three things. Number one, between the two of us, we had been laid off three times. I had been laid off from my job twice and my husband once. It's not a good feeling when your economy is just decimated, right? So we decided that we wanted to control our personal economy by creating some other type of income. That's number one. Number two, we were encouraging our children to seek higher education, i.e., go to college. How are we going to pay for it? Number two. And number three, we were looking ahead, like I just talked about, entrepreneurs, I believe, need to do. We were looking ahead into the fourth quarter of our lives financially. What would happen if when we got there, Social Security wasn't there? So we decided that we would pursue aggressively the real estate investing approach to create passive income so that we could address all three of those items I just mentioned. If our jobs go away, we still have an income. When kids go to college, we would buy a property for each one of our children, take the cash flow, pay the tuition, and number three, have passive income when we got into our seasoned, years. And it has worked. It's worked. And so that's motivation. When you talk about 0% eviction rate, like I talk to investors all the time, it's one thing to acquire a property and to pour your blood, sweat, and resources into it. In the buy and hold space, though, if you can't run it efficiently, if you can't make sure that the cash is flowing and that you have awesome tenants that you have screened thoroughly, then the machine doesn't work, right? COVID was really a litmus test for the real estate industry, at least the small landlords, because that's who my audience is. Whether or not you have done your due diligence and finding quality tenants who can pay you on time, and so that's been our motivation. If the cash is not flowing, if we don't have awesome tenants who are taking care of our assets, then it's really a moot point. And that's what's motivated us to be on top of our game around offering quality customer service to our tenants, being responsive and communicative, and having processes in place to run our rentals like a business.
As you was talking and sharing that, thanks for giving us the backstory, by the way. And boy, what a wonderful mother-in-law you had. And the good news is you listened, you and your husband, and were able to do some amazing things. And I'm so happy you're here on the Happy Entrepreneur Show. And that's a good way to the segment that we have here called Today is My January 1st. And I know some of you, as you're listening, you're wondering, has she ever had any problems? Has her life always been perfect shape? We don't know. We're going to find out. But today is my January 1st. For those folks who tune in every night at 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, you know what we're about to do. You can say those magic words. Today is my January 1st. Doesn't that feel good? For those folks that are tuning in for the very first time, welcome. We're glad to have you here at the Happy Entrepreneur Show. Today is my January 1st is our personal mantra. It represents a fresh start. It represents a do-over. It means the past. No matter how great the past is or how bad the past is, the past no longer equals the future. So my question for Kim on the other side is two parts. Number one, when you hear those words, today is my January 1st, what do you hear? And number two, where was a time that you had a setback? Maybe things didn't go the way they were supposed to go. And how were you able to come back from that? Maybe you had no setbacks, but we're going to find out, ladies and gentlemen.
Absolutely. I can tell you exactly what my January 1st day was. It was in the fourth quarter of 2018. I was on my lunch in Trenton, New Jersey. That's where our office was, just running an errand. And I tripped on an uneven sidewalk. I didn't hit my head, but the impact of the fall was so great that I experienced a brain injury. Now, we're talking about sports at the top with LeBron James. I had heard of a concussion as it relates to football and all these sports, but I never knew what it was until I had that fall. And I had to take the SW off my chest, as in the Superwoman, after 72 hours of falling and realize that I needed to be still. And it took me 4 months to recover from that concussion. We wonder many times why infants sleep so long. It's because their brains are still developing. During the 18 hours of sleep a day that I was forced to do, because our brains are like the motherboards of our computers, right? If they're not working, nothing else works. So, during those 18 hours of sleeping every day, letting my brain heal in those 4 months, like, my mortality was really presented to me, right? I know people after I had that brain injury who never recovered, who didn't make it back to normality, but I did. And during those, that downtime, I was obedient to the universe. It took me time to reflect inwardly and externally at my life. And when I came out of that, I had the experience of seeing all the puzzle pieces in my life come together. Number one, that I would that was in 2018. 4 months later, I went back to work in 2019. In 2020, I would turn 60 and qualify for retirement. It would have been like 30 plus years of us building our real estate portfolio. And just, the pieces started lining up. And before I went back to my job, I wrote on a 3x5 card in red marker, which I still have on my refrigerator, that my birthday gift to myself, I wrote the date October 9th, 2020 on it. I would give myself retirement. I would give myself freedom. And that's what I did. So my January 1st was deciding, as I recovered, that it was time for me to go from my career to my calling, and that I would be obedient to the universe. Because sometimes we have to be set down just to reflect. Sometimes we have to be set down because we just moving through life. And daggone it set me down and it shook me up. And I said, my January 1st is October 9th, 2020. And that's when I retired and moved into the next level in the new chapter that I'm living right now.
Well, congratulations. Retirement is also looking good on you, by the way. So congratulations to you.
Okay.
As folks are listening, one of my favorite questions to ask is, what is one of the best pieces of advice you've ever been given? And you shared a lot so far. And I say that because I believe success is a team sport. You can only get so far by yourself. And you've had so many mentors along this journey, maybe some formal, some informal. But if you think about all the lessons you learned and the best piece of advice you've ever been given, just one of them, what would you share with the audience? And you as the audience, you get to lean in now, because you get to listen and hear something that you can walk away with, that she's holding near and dear to her, that you can now apply in your life. So the question is, what's one of the best pieces of advice you've ever been given?
If I could offer two very quickly, and one is to live a cafeteria life, right? To consume as much information as you can and take what you like and leave what you don't. Take what you like and leave what you don't, and apply it to your life. The other piece of advice I would suggest, and I learned how to play chess at a very early age, and that is to think like the chess master and not the chess piece. Think like the chess master and not the chess piece. Figure out what not just your next move is going to be, but your next 2, 3, or 4 moves on the board are going to be, and operate your life like that.
I love it. What do you do for fun? We're not out saving the world and building houses and doing what you do, teaching and training and so much other stuff. I think you say you have 10 grandkids, I believe. So what do you do for fun these days?
I enjoy traveling, and I also recognize the need to be healthy, right? So my goal, I'm not a runner, I'm a walker.
Yeah.
So I walk and I jog, right? So my goal is to run in all 50 states and on all 7 continents, to combine health with travel. And to date, I have ran in 39 states, 3 continents, and I think 6 islands.
Wow, cool. And you can't leave us hanging saying you like to travel and not tell us what's one of the places you like to travel. I mean, you can't just leave us hanging. Everybody's like, oh, wow, she travels. Shay, what's one place that's top of mind to her that she really loved? And I know you probably like them all, but we're curious. Tell us.
Well, interesting. Top of mind. So I fired my 9 to 5 3 years ago, And I'm so excited that my husband fired his 9 to 5 this March. So I took a little break on the group running with the running group that I do, and we've been traveling all year. We have traveled to 2 continents, 4 countries, and 20 cities in 2023. 2 continents, 4 countries, and 20 cities. And the one that really sticks out for me is Barcelona, Spain. Was absolutely magnificent.
Why? I'm just curious. What stuck out to you most? I mean, I've never been to Barcelona, Spain.
The architecture, the ambiance, the shopping. It's on the water, and it's beautiful. It's beautiful. It's absolutely just kind of metropolitan and Victorian. It is just the vibe. It has a special vibe there. I would definitely go back.
Cool. Well, let me say first of all, two-part question as we come down the home stretch. Number one, what type of clients are you looking to work with these days? You see the training, we see you're doing coaching, a lot of stuff. So that's number one. And number two, how can folks best stay in this conversation with you over and beyond today?
Right, right. So legacy real estate consulting, like our focus is on helping the small landlord operate their properties more efficiently, effectively, avoid evictions, and increase cash flow. So that's my client base, are small, aspiring, or existing real estate investors and landlords. So that's my clientele. And I think the second question was, how can they get in contact with me? Was that
Yeah,
it, Chip?
is there a website, or how can they best stay in this conversation over beyond today?
Sure, sure. So I'm very active on Instagram. My handle is LLDOCS30, LLDOCS30. And that's also my website, www.LLDOCS30.com. And the explanation on that acronym LL Docs 30 is um, it means Landlord Docs 30. So when I launched Legacy Real Estate Consulting, I made available our property management digital document system that we've created to run our company. And I used to say, oh, we have 30 plus years of 0% eviction rate. And I had a coach one time, she said, no, 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 count the number of years. How many years? Which now is 39. But when I launched, I just said 30. So that's, why we named the property management document bundle Landlord Docs 30. So that's the handle on IG and also our website, lldocs30.com.
Well, let me say thank you so much for being on the Happy Entrepreneur Show. We really appreciate it.
I appreciate being invited. I appreciate you, Chad.
Good. And thank you. Thank you to viewers. Thank you for tuning in. Without you, there is no show. So we appreciate you showing up. We appreciate every comment, every share. If you haven't connected, make sure you connect with us over at I am Che Brown. I always like to close every night. I never get tired of doing this. Reminding you that you're so incredible. Reminding you that you're amazing. No matter what's going on in your life right now, that you are a super cool individual helping folks all over the world. And that today is your January 1st. And because of just that one reason alone, your best is still yet to come. Your best is yet to come. Your best is still yet to come. With that being said, thanks a lot. My name is Che Brown. It still is. It hasn't changed. The Happy Entrepreneur. Make it a great day, everyone. And we'll make some good things happen. We connect again next time. Peace. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye, Kim.